Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, of course, and as you can see from the title of this video, I want to talk about the judge granting continuances in Martell Holt's criminal case for alleged revenge P. And I want to talk about it because I would always get so annoyed when yet another continuance would be granted. But it looks like there is a reason, almost like a judge's hands are tied. Now, before we get into it all, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel. Everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion. And the Copyright Act of 1976 says that my fair use commentary is allowed. Okay, so shout out to T from TV. This is where I initially saw this report last night, where she let us know that Martell's criminal case has been continued. The judge granted it. He will report back to court on August 18th of this year, August 18th at 9 a.m. Now, of course, it looks like a game. We all have seen Martell Holt just totally act a fool on Love and Marriage Huntsville, and he continues to get these extensions, if you will. So it definitely seems like a game. He realizes that he could potentially lose custody of his 4 children that he shares with Melody Cherie Rogers. So he thinks he can just continuously ask for continuances to dodge that ball. But eventually, the bill is going to come due. Like Melody, we just have to remain patient, right? And of course, keep her in your prayers. Now, I asked Google and I like modified it. I was like adding child custody, revenge P, and Google, of course, is so intuitive. It knows what I am asking. And so I first asked, why do judges continuously push back trial dates? And ultimately, it's to ensure fairness. So Google's AI overview states that judges may push back trial dates or grant continuances for various reasons, primarily to ensure fairness. And so they don't want to be responsible in the event if someone like Martell were to say, well, the judge did not ensure that I had a fair trial, and I was asking for those continuances for a reason. There's also, it could be a slew of things, but some of the reasons include it could be a change in representation. And we know that he has a pattern of changing lawyers. And he could always say, the defense could always say that they need more time to prepare. So then I did ask Google, I did kind of localize it, made it more specific, and I typed the words revenge P. So let me go ahead and share this screen. I know that they're going to look alike because Google is very consistent with its layout. But I asked, why do judges continuously push back trial dates? And then again, I just typed out revenge P at the end of the question. And AI overview says that with revenge P cases, it could be for a variety of reasons. It does get a little more sticky because the judge has to also research the laws in the state regarding actually explicit images versus the amendment rights to free expression. I know it sounds wild. I thought that that was ridiculous, but I guess they have to find the medium between, okay, these are actually explicit images. You cannot use them for revenge. And then they have to gauge what is revenge and what is you just expressing your interest in something that is explicit, but that is what they have to look into. Now, also, it gave also the generic reasons, again, like the defense may need more time to gather evidence, secure witnesses. Again, that's a very generic, general background or change in representation. Now, there are also a couple of websites that I wanted to show you all very quickly because it does talk about restraining orders as well as custody, because I did get more specific. So let's go ahead and talk. Let's go to this website first because it's a little bit more negative. It's a little more pessimistic. So I want to make sure that you all can see my screen. Yep, perfect. So this is from the website overmyerfamilymatters.com. So it is of a legal website, and of course you can research topics. So when I added the words custody case to that question, why do judges continuously, give continuances on cases? It highlighted for me, for most revenge P abusers who do not face jail time, it is unlikely that their actions will significantly impact a custody decision. While it is certainly conduct the court can take into consideration, it is likely not going to be the factor that helps you win your custody case. And I mean, that's totally fine. There's plenty of other reasons why Melody Cherie would qualify to have full custody. She is a responsible adult, no criminal background, no criminal record. She has a very high income. She's very stable. She's in her right mind. So the revenge P, that would just be an additional reason for her to get it. But this website is basically saying don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Don't depend solely on your ex-spouse being found guilty of revenge P as the sole reason for you to get custody. It would be something in additional, it would be conduct that the court would take into consideration. But then I also found a website that seemed to be a little more positive about this unfortunate situation that could be involved between a couple that has children. So when there is some sort of accusation of revenge P, then that spouse that is the victim of it, they could get a restraining order. And we know that there is a court order where Martell, he can't be within a certain distance of Melody, and he most certainly cannot cross boundaries and try to harm her or step into her space. And so the restraining orders actually helps the person, of course, who has the restraining order against the ex-spouse. And this website says that judges would grant that if they are convinced that there has been some sort of DV. And we know that revenge P with Alabama state law, how it's viewed is when you're charged with revenge P, it was two charges. It's the harassing communications in combination with the DV is how they define revenge P, if you will, and bring down the charges. So the judge was convinced that there was some sort of alleged DV act, so the restraining order was granted. That definitely helps Melody. So even if Martell is thinking that he's doing something by always asking these continuances and getting them, the judge is just doing their job, making sure they are dotting their I's, crossing their T's by giving the continuances, just so that this Negro cannot say, well, I didn't get a fair trial. When I asked for a continuance, I didn't get it. So they can't say that now because they're getting these continuances. So the judge is right with doing that. It does annoy me, but now that I've done some reading online, I do get the why behind that. And the restraining order that Melody was granted, it totally helps her. So if he thinks he's being slick, he is not. So I definitely wanted to share that with you all. While I was cooling down on the bike at the gym, I just asked Google because I was so annoyed when I saw T from TV story last night. I was like, oh my gosh. And I like to marinate on stuff that really just burns my biscuits. And so I created my content and I said, well, I'm going to get ready for bed. This is just the start of the work week. So then today, this evening, while at the gym, I just looked up some things and I found this to be very interesting and very helpful and hopeful. So I hope that Melody is not discouraged by the game that he's trying to play because the ball is still definitely in her court with that court order that she was granted. So that is what I wanted to share with you all concerning that. What do you think about the judge granting yet another continuance in the criminal case? And do you think that eventually it will run out? I know the judge has to ensure that he gets a fair trial, but to what it has to be within reason, I would imagine. So now let's talk about Smokey Robinson. OMG, okay? So I want to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. And I want to make sure you all can see that there. Okay, perfect. So Smokey Robinson, Motown singer, famed songwriter. Smokey Robinson wrote My Girl for the Temptations, okay? He's huge, legendary. Smokey Robinson has been accused of SAing not one, not two, not three, but four women. And one woman says that she was abused by him, allegedly, Mr. Robinson, for almost 20 years. This is coming from the Neighborhood Talk, my absolute favorite blog. So I'm going to read the caption, and it reads, Motown legend Smokey Robinson has been accused of sexual battery, false imprisonment, assault, gender violence, and fostering a hostile work environment by four women who claim to be former employees of him. According to documents filed today, May the 6th, in Los Angeles Superior Court, Jane Doe number one claims the abuse began in March 2023, just 2 years ago, and continued throughout her employment. She also alleges that Robinson's wife, Frances Robinson, was aware of the misconduct, but turned a blind eye, even after prior settlements with other victims. Jane Doe number two says the abuse started in 2016, just 9 years ago, and ultimately forced her to resign from her position in 2020. Jane Doe number three, who worked as his housekeeper from 2012 to 2024, alleged she was raped by Smokey at least 20 times, claiming he made her lie face down on a towel during the assaults. Jane Doe 4 states she was employed by Robinson from 2006 to 2024 and was also forced to resign due to repeated sexual assaults and harassment that allegedly began in 2007, continuing for nearly 20 years. This is very unfortunate. I feel like there is this it feels like a spiritual movement, like something is happening in the spirit realm where God is trying to protect his female children, his women children from He is sick of it. If it's true, he sits high and looks low and he sees everything and he's all knowing. He has to be exhausted from seeing how people are getting treated, because we are in this time and this era of people finally speaking up for themselves, saying what is happening to them, and they are going through the law for justice. They want their perpetrators to be brought to justice. Now, of course, I wasn't there. I do not know where Smokey lives. I know he's out in California because I remember an episode of Braxton Family Values when Toni Braxton was saying she was driving too slow for somebody on the freeway and they had road rage. They was blowing their horn at her and driving around her. And when she looked, she said it was Smokey Robinson, child. And he and I share the same birthday. It's me, him, and Cynthia Bailey. But I would love for this to be untrue. I love the whole Motown era, the Motown Museum. I could go there right now in Detroit. And it's very disappointing. Four women, this is just my opinion, Mr. Robinson, all four of them can't be lying. I know that it's a possibility, but what are the odds? It is very specific. There's time frames. There's a pattern. They all worked for him. They all quit because they couldn't take it anymore. And I mean, he wrote classic songs. I'm sure he's like loaded. So is Barry Gordy. Even when he sold Motown, like he still owns like so many shares, and he's probably retired now, but he was like on the board for Motown because Motown, it doesn't have any current acts because it doesn't need to. Motown Records will always generate money because people will purchase and now stream all those classic hits. And then they're used in commercials and movies, and the list just goes on and on. So, like, I'm guessing the last one of the last current acts, not the last, was probably like Boys to Men from the 90s. Like, they don't have to book any new acts on their label because they have so many monumental, popular, historical songs that people still enjoy today. So I know that Smokey Robinson is like full of money, and there could be like an arrogance there. And I always thought that like he must be arrogant ever since Tony Braxton told that story about his road rage. And she was shocked that it was him. But this is very traumatic. It's traumatic just to be sexually harassed on your job, to be stalked where you live. That is traumatic and sad, depressing, and stressful. I cannot imagine it going even further with the violation of boundaries. That is terrible. And then they're saying that the wife knew. So if this is all alleged, of course, this is being reported. I'm saying this reportedly, but if that's true, how sick is that? Are you just with him for the money and the clout to say that you're Smokey Robinson's wife? You know, is it like a performance thing? You can't keep up with him, so you don't mind what he does to other women, even if it's against their wishes. And this again is my opinion, Mr. Robinson, based upon the reports. But I will definitely be keeping up with this, and any updates I will be sure to bring to you all because this is unfortunate. Now, I know some people, especially the fans, like with Bill Cosby, it was always, oh, why would they wait so long? Why would they wait so long? Like with Bill Cosby, he was the man. Like I remember being in my 20s working at a bank, and like the older black women, they would talk about a movie called Uptown Saturday Night. They said it was a riot. And so I watched it, and I could see where it was like entertaining. Bill Cosby was the man. And then he got his Cosby show, which was popular for several years before The Simpsons came in and dumbed everybody down, and people wanted sillier television on Thursday nights. But Bill Cosby, he was the man. And when a man is that powerful, that popular, that rich, they're going to think that they can do whatever. And the people that unfortunately experience the victimization, they're going to be discouraged about speaking up because the person is that popular, that powerful, that rich. I mean, to me, that's like basic math. I don't see what people don't understand about that. Same thing with Smokey Robinson. Like, dude, he's Smokey Robinson. He may have said that to the women, like, who's going to believe you? I'm Smokey Robinson. I don't know. This is just alleged, Mr. Robinson, just my opinion. But that's very difficult, even on your corporate job where the person is not a multimillionaire, but they could be popular. You might be discouraged about reporting them. Plus, women are always viewed as the troublemaker when they're being violated on the job. So it's really a really slippery slope. It's not easy. It takes a lot of courage and strength to speak up in such situations. So I am proud of these women. And as far as I can tell, they're not being represented by attorney Tony Busby. So that right there adds some credibility to their stories 100%. But I think that we are in this wave, this era of people speaking up for themselves after they've been violated. I think that in the spirit realm, God, they are all tired of the SA. I think they're sick of it. So I'm here for justice for sure. But what do you think about this story involving Smokey Robinson? Are you surprised or are you not? What do you think about the pattern, the things in common? They were all former employees and they all had to resign and they gave very specifics. And, he's into the position, the line face down, like the Luke record. Well, I thank you all so much for checking out this video. Please hit the like button on this video as it is a free way of supporting the channel. And please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit if you have not already done so. I hope that you had a terrific Tuesday. I did. I cannot complain. I feel like so far the week is kind of like flying. We're going to have a wonderful Wednesday. And the weather, it was like 61 degrees. I still wore my coat because the weather's like up and down. I check the weather app every day before I head out to the gym, but it just seems like it's just continuously going up and down. It is sort of windy out there and the sun hasn't been out. So it felt more like 55 degrees, and you just don't want to get sick with the weather being so unpredictable. So if you take sea moss, keep taking your sea moss, your elderberry, your ginger tea, if your tummy can take it. And yeah, I'm about to make my overnight oats. While you're watching your favorite YouTubers, be sure to drink your water, grab your fruit, and I will talk with you all soon. Bye.